call her, so I didn't pick her up. I told her, never mind. So that to me that was just that. That's like eating your peas one at a time. You know what I'm saying? If you eat your peas one at a time and we're at dinner, I'm probably gonna think, what are you, 6 years old? This is the end of our relationship. Maybe we still be friends, but we're not gonna get involved. I don't want to be involved with someone who's just silly. That's just silly. That's just nonsense. Can I call you? Text. No, I'm not texting you while I'm driving, stupid. Okay, if I can't call you, then we're not going to go out. Period. Thank you. But no, thank you. Okay, if you're not an adult enough to accept a phone call, then never mind. You can, you don't need me. You can kick it by yourself or whatever. She's a very attractive young lady, so she probably is not by herself, just not with me. Next guy she was going to date, probably putting up with this nonsense because was very good looking woman, but I couldn't do it, man. Once she said that I couldn't call her for me to text her, to me I was thinking, you know what? I can't do this. I can't be with someone who demands something so silly. You're so hip that you can't be called on the phone. It would have been easy, you know what I'm saying? For me to call you and be like, all right, because she was at her father's house and she wanted me to come pick her up from her dad's house. And I was going to do it, but I didn't know where he lived. So when she said text me, that was the end of it. But I hate to be the one to tell you guys this. There are some things that are true in the world, and that the 5G networks have causing the virus. That's not true. Okay. So I hate to burst your bubble. I know a lot of people are conspiracy theorists, and they they absolutely hate when someone tells them the truth. That, these conspiracies are all based in paranoia and mental instability usually. But I have it on good authority that 5G networks have not caused the coronavirus. Okay? If you think everything is caused by either the government or secret societies, then you should get a psychiatric evaluation. I hate to be the one to tell you this. I hope that you're not listening to this podcast and going to hate it now. You're going to be like, I'm not listening to that jerk anymore. He's not he's a snowflake or deep state operative or whatever nonsense they say about you. Now, when you're just a sane person who has the nerve to say something that's just true, not spooky. I don't believe in leprechauns or little people hiding out in the woods or Bigfoot. I know a lot of people do, and it seems to be some smart people even that believe in Bigfoot. I don't know why. I told my ex-girlfriend who believed in that and said her father seen a Bigfoot. And I was thinking, I didn't say anything at the time. Like, really? Because, again, she was a good-looking girl. Sexy as hell. But, so I didn't want to get her upset. You know what I'm saying? I didn't feel like arguing about it at the time. Although I was thinking, are you kidding me? But I was thinking mental instability. That's the issue. Because she said her dad was in the service and got back in Vietnam. I think it was Vietnam War, Korean War, somewhere in there. But her father had gotten exposed to Agent Orange, and it messed with his mind. And I was thinking, She had told me that on a separate occasion, but I was thinking this might be the culprit of him seeing the Bigfoot. I tell you, if there was a Bigfoot, one of these hillbillies would have shot the Bigfoot by now and drug him out in front of everybody and said, see, I told you there's Bigfoot. That's never happened because there's no Bigfoot. Bigfoot doesn't exist. I hate saying this because I know a lot of people are going to be like, this guy is, he's a shill for the government. No, I'm not. The government, they don't like me either, but I just, don't have time for this nonsense. I'm not a corporate shill or spewing propaganda. There just is no Bigfoot. All right, we're going to make an attempt to go to a break for 30 seconds. So hang on. We'll be right back right after this.
You're listening to a man who's so sexy it's completely ridiculous. Mr. Anthony Scott Dover. Yummy.
Oh, yeah. All right, we're back. Speaking of conspiracy theorists and this coronavirus, this is not quite a conspiracy theorist, but this is just something that actually happened. This is not fake news as it has been called. Whenever the president doesn't like the news that's been reported, he just calls it fake, which is ironic for a guy who just doesn't believe in telling the truth for whatever reason. Instead of the news media counting how many times he lies, they should be counting how many times he tells the truth. That would be a much smaller number and easier to count. So maybe you should reverse that. CNN or MSNBC, CBS, ABC, whoever keeps track of how many times the president lies. Maybe you should keep track of how many times he tells the truth. That'd be so much easier for you to keep track of during his presidency. Like anytime someone doesn't, anytime he doesn't like something that the media says, he just says it's fake news. It's not fake news just because you don't like it, man. Fake news if it's not true. They should say that about him whenever he says something that's not true. Fake speech. Fake press conference. But anyway, this was reported in the news last week, and I just now am able to say something about it. But this was last week. I heard this on a radio show that I was listening to, that a young lady or an older lady or middle-aged woman, I think she was, I don't know how old she was exactly, so I don't want to say her exact age, but I think she was 50, in her 50s, from what I can remember. Anyway, this middle-aged woman wrote this email to this radio show, and she was a Trump supporter, a supporter of the president, politically. You know, she had voted for him, and she specified and that she was going to do so again. She said that the coronavirus was a Democratic hoax. She wrote all this in the email that was read on the air by the host of the show. I won't mention the name of the show because they might not appreciate it. If anyone cares, I mean, I don't know how many people are listening to this podcast for it to get back to them anyway. Although I've called the show a couple of times and made comments on stuff that they were talking about on the air. But anyway, this lady had emailed the show and said that the coronavirus was a hoax. This is over a month ago when she emailed the show. It was like 2 months ago, I think, somewhere in there, when this first was coming out, when the story about the coronavirus spreading was first starting to hit the U.S., that I think China and Italy, they were already knee deep in coronavirus. And the Chinese, they just don't want to be honest. They want to downplay it to the rest of the world how bad it hit them. But anyway, this lady said that the coronavirus was a hoax, that the media was just part of the deep state, and that they were overblowing this coronavirus, and that this coronavirus kills less people than anything, and that basically no one is really this coronavirus is not a big issue. I mean, she went on and on about how terrible it is for the media and the Democrats to, say that this coronavirus is dangerous and that we should do something about it, and that President Trump made a huge mistake when he fired all the national security pandemic task force, or whatever they were called. All these doctors and scientists at the CDC had this they had this group that they were there to preparing for, just in case we would have a pandemic. It was something that the Obama administration had put into place that President Trump didn't feel it was necessary. This was before the coronavirus happened, so he disbanded this group of doctors and scientists and said that that was a waste of money, because they're doctors and scientists and all tops in their field, and so the government was paying them a lot of money to work and study viruses and try to give their opinion on what they think we should do to prepare ourselves for a pandemic. And this is before the pandemic happened, when the president he fired them all and said, this is unnecessary. It's a complete waste of money. But anyway, this lady wrote this email to this radio station saying that this is all nonsense created by the media and the Democrats to bring President Trump down politically. To say this is an issue so that the stock market would crash and that the economy would be bad, and then they could bring President Trump down. This email was written over 2 months ago, and it was read and talked about on the air. Now, it was just read again last week, and the host of the show said subsequently that the lady is no longer alive. That he tried to get in touch with her to get her, to call into the radio show and talk about, her point of view, to elaborate on her point of view. And her family member said that she died from the coronavirus. So anytime I see somebody saying this coronavirus is no big deal, I think this is all overblown, I think, this person, I'm not saying they're going to die. I don't know who's going to die, and I don't wish that or hope it on anyone, especially not the president. You know what I'm saying? Can't imagine the president, but he is 74. I can't imagine him, getting sick and dying. They would just blame that on the Democrats, somehow their fault. But I'm sure he's got the, best of care, doctors and everything. And it's only, he was only saying that in public, that the coronavirus, no big deal. He knew it was a big deal. They've been briefed on it. The Congress, and the